I'm in salad and I got issues. I'm in salad and I got issues. I'm in salad and I got issues.
Oh yeah, those are good because of all the jingle tits. Now there's none of that.
I got issues with Virus, but with me to review Virus is a very special, very famous guest. Introduce yourself. Hello.
Hi, I'm Tony Frack the Movies, and I also have Virus. I have the
Wow.
original issues from the early '90s that even come with a advertisement for Army of Darkness on the back.
Hey, that's pretty cool. When did you first read Virus?
Actually, a few months ago. So a fan actually sent me these years ago, along with the Virus video game. I only knew about the movie from 1998 with what's her face, Jamie Lee Curtis. I saw it when it came out, and I recently reviewed it with Casey the Final Girl and Captain Boomies. But before
I didn't know it existed.
Well, it exists. Jamie Lee Curtis, up until a few years ago, still considers it her worst movie.
Oh, geez.
Look, the movie's not great. I don't know if it's her worst. To be honest, I've never seen Beverly Hills Chihuahua. I feel like that might be a worse movie, but maybe not. Maybe not. So I went back and I finally read the comic and I learned about the history of it. Yeah, and I actually enjoyed it. It feels like a rough draft. The movie changes.
Feels like a rough draft?
Yeah, the comic feels like, his first attempt at the story. The writer made a lot of changes for the film. Not all of them good, but yeah, I had a good time reading it. What did you think, Mint?
I had a good time. Here's the review structure.
Okay.
We have the salad review structure. S is for story, A is for art, L is for lettering, A is for drama, action, and D is for drama. We can start with the story, talk about the story, what we think about the story, and then go on to the art, and then so on and so forth. And that's how it'll be structured today. So let's start with the story. Before I start with the story, I read the foreword, and I had to look up words. I had to look up several words that I don't remember what they mean. Dubious, humdrum, vertiginous, beneficent, aboriginal, and abhorrent. Those are the words I had to look up.
Aboriginal, I know. Beneficent, I think I know. Wow, that's very wordy. Did the writer write that? Who wrote the foreword?
Robert Sheckley wrote it.
I don't know who
that guy is, but it was very deep. I liked the foreword a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, it was commenting on how basically humans, everyone's just trying to escape, and everyone escapes in their own ways via politics, comics, movies, drawing, whatever the heck. All of it's an escape from the real world, the mundanity, the humdrum of the real world.
I don't know if the comic comes with a foreword. Keep talking. I'm gonna see if the comic comes with a foreword.
So I got this Virus. I don't know. Is this a graphic novel? This must be a graphic novel.
Yeah, you have the trade paperback. It's collected. No, the original comic does not come with a foreword. Anyway.
Okay. Well, that makes sense. Okay, so the story starts. And we're in a stormy place, stormy seas, and there's a boat out there. We have a captain, and he's captaining about. He's like, let's go full force into that super stormy, wavy place. And of course, we have the Chief Averill. He seems to be the only guy who has any sort of brain about him, or not so much brain, but more like he's.
Wait, did you say chief? Did you mean captain?
No, chief. He's chief. Captain and chief are two different characters.
Oh, right. Sorry.
So April is the chief, and Paolo.
I know who you're talking about now. Yeah, sorry.
Okay, so we the chief is pretty much the only guy who's caring about anyone's safety, and the captain's just here to be like, oh well, here's my big ego. I'm gonna drop it all over the floor. And what did you think of the captain character, Tony?
He's a little interesting. He's the story is, sorry, I forgot to reread it right before the shoot. His dad owns the shipping company, right? If I remember right.
I did not catch that detail, but that is a detail.
He is an asshole. He's a lot younger in this than he is in the film. Sorry if I'm comparing to the film.
Okay.
This character seems like he's trying to make a name for himself, and he's cutting corners. And he's a real asshole. I like what happens to him. Very different in the movie. The movie, they keep this character around way longer than the book. Yeah, he's just a real douche. And then the character, the chief, who,
Canoe.
huh?
He's a douche canoe.
Yes,
You
he's
know,
a douche
water.
canoe. Yeah. When I think of the open sea, I think of canoes, man.
You know, I think he's just like a really arrogant type of guy.
Yeah.
He's the type of guy who's like, if you question his anything, he's going to be like, I'm going to arrest you.
Mhm.
And you're going to be tried for treason or whatever, even if it's like the right decision to make.
Yeah.
So I do like the opening is establishing the crew there.
Mhm.
We got a crew of a bunch of people who are willing to just do whatever the captain says because they're so focused on money,
Yeah.
or like their potential riches, or just like a dumb blonde chick who's also really good with like communication stuff, which is
Yes,
fun.
I believe that is who becomes the Jamie Lee Curtis character in the film.
Okay.
Is
Well, that
she
makes a
blonde
whole
or
lot of
is she a
sense.
blonde or is she a redhead? I think she's a redhead.
There's a brunette chick and then there's a blonde chick. I believe the
Oh.
blonde chick is really good with like communications and fixing up
Oh,
stuff.
you're right. The brunette, I think, is the one who becomes Jamie Lee Curtis. There is no
Yeah.
blonde chick in the film. There is a new
Oh.
female character, but it's not this one.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's fascinating.
Mhm.
So of course we have the captain. He's like, I'm not gonna listen to any of y'all. And they get crashed with this really big wave, and I'll
They
talk
lose
about like
they
the
lose their
paneling.
cargo. Sorry.
Yeah,
They
they
lose
lose
their
the
cargo.
yes, they
Yeah.
lose the cargo. The paneling's really good, but I'll be more specific in the art section
Okay.
about that. They lose the cargo, but then it's like a sunny day, and we have some of the crews like, "Oh, we've already hit our 50 hours," and it's like, dude, you're in the middle of nowhere. The work week doesn't matter if you're in the middle of nowhere and you're going to die. Work week is just a human construct in a society.
Yeah.
So
I think one of those characters is Apa, right? He's the dark skinned guy.
Yes,
Yeah. In the film, they made him like a Maori guy, like a New Zealand native, and he actually has like tribal tattoos on his face. So
Oh.
they like changed him for that. But yeah, keep going.
Yeah, this guy. I do like the different types of characters that we have. Apa seems to be the handyman guy. And then there's this other dude who's just kind of he just is there
Yeah.
for a job. He doesn't really care that much.
They need people to die. We call that cannon fodder. It's just a character
Oh.
that isn't really super developed because he's just there to die.
Cannon fodder.
Yeah.
Good word.
Yeah.
Okay, then they're just, in the open sea and they see a what is it called? A boat. A lifeboat, and there's like a dead body in it. It's like, what is this dead body? And then there's a Chinese warship.
Yes.
And my first thought when I saw this was like, dude, I mean, I know you're stuck and all, but please get away from it. Please get away from it. And you know what the captain does? Let's get closer to it.
Yeah, because they lost their salvage. They need a new thing. Another interesting change for the movie, they changed it to a Russian vessel. They dropped all the Chinese stuff from the movie.
That's weird.
Yeah.
I wonder why they did that.
I don't know. I don't know if they were released. I don't know. I don't know why.
Here's the point where the captain really abuses his power. He's like starts being really iron fisty. He's like, okay, you're gonna go up there in the lifeboat, in the life raft, Averill and a bunch of crew. Go up there, or else you're going to get arrested. And so he does that, and I'm like, okay. I mean, captain, who promoted you as captain? What?
I don't know.
Like, you suck as a captain. This must be some sort of nepotistic shit going on around here. So
I think it is.
Yeah, it must be. They climb into the place, and then there's like a bunch of dead bodies. The ones that they find are suicides, which is
Yes.
a interesting touch
Did
because
this
it's like
sorry,
there's monsters.
did this remind you of anything? This whole scene of them finding suicides at an abandoned thing?
Um,
It's
it kind of reminded me of The Thing a little
okay,
bit.
good. That was
Yeah.
the right answer. It is similar to The Thing. The writer Chuck Pfarrer, he actually wrote Thing comics for Dark
Oh.
Horse. Like he wrote like a sequel to the movie in a comic form. So yeah, this is heavily inspired by The Thing, and he had previous experience writing Thing stories. So this is basically him going like, I'm gonna do The Thing, but it's on a boat and they're cyborgs instead of.
Ooh.
I mean, I guess they're kind of space aliens, but not quite the space alien that you would think. But yes.
Yeah, I found it fascinating because they also they refer to like the creatures later on as like the thing, like things, the thing. And so I
Yeah.
was like, okay, I could probably be referencing that. So, they're searching, they find some power to turn on. Their the captain has the biggest brain idea of the world. And I'm like, why would you have this idea? Oh, let's tow it. Dude, the ship is like 10 times the size of yours. Why do you think this is possible?
Well, no, tugboats can tug stuff that's way heavier than them. However,
They have a tugboat?
yeah, they have a tugboat. That's what they were tugging that like large cargo thing. However, she didn't read the comic, but Captain Boomies told me that the tugboat they use in the movie is not meant for like the open sea and it couldn't tug stuff like that. Well, there are boats designed for this. I don't know if this particular one was it.
That's good to know. So
Yeah.
we have this tugboat, but it's tugging too big of a boat, and the boat oh my goodness, the boat just crashes, go boom, and a guy gets like cabled through.
That was
so they've lost.
That was awesome. The guy getting sliced in half. That was so cool.
Yeah, that was a really cool moment. And then they're in the water and they have to be on the ship, and Averill is like in charge now because the captain hit his head. So now we have a guy who's making sensible decisions, and he's like investigating what's going on in this freaking alien that's just like weird what's going on here. This like everything's in Chinese. So it's like,
yeah,
I don't know how to read any of this.
They find a book that's like American to Chinese, Chinese to American. It's very convenient.
Oh yeah. It's once they get on this ship though, and then there's like these weird I can only describe them as like biometric cyborg biomechanical like bug cyborg things.
They are cyborgs. The first one we get is the big like wasp, and he's actually on the cover of the first issue.
Ooh.
And he actually makes it into the film.
That's cool.
He's one of the few like kind of things from the comics that actually made it into the film. And as you can see, he's got Chinese lettering on his wing. That was not in the film.
I do like the his face is like a web camera. And I do like how easy they are to like just taken down. Is really cool.
Yeah.
So they discover like people's bodies are being used to make these creatures, and someone is here to make these creatures, and it's like, what's going on? And of course there's a fight that breaks out. Well, that's whatever. But then there's a Chinese ship coming up ahead, and then he just starts shooting missiles at
I like it.
What?
The entity, whatever it is, like fucks with the satellites and reprograms their missile to shoot the jet fighter. I think that was their way of like showing that no one's gonna come and rescue them. In the movie, it was like, oh, they're in the middle of a hurricane, and they didn't do the scene with the jet coming, which I thought was a bummer.
I feel like the jet coming is like it's another layer of a threat coming.
Yeah.
So you got a bunch. There's threats coming from everywhere. Like they got to be like on their toes the entire time.
Yeah.
So a bunch of missiles being thrown at the dish, redirecting the missiles until it explodes the plane. Well, that's one issue. Then they're focused on fixing a bunch of stuff. What's fun about this scene, though, is we get more of like character study, where we have everyone splitting off. We have Appa, and his name is Richie. Richie's just like drinking alcohol. He's like, I'm gonna
Yeah.
drink some alcohol. I'm like, why would you do that in this situation? I mean,
It's a
I
very
know he.
stressful day. His face is all fucked up. The Chinese shot a missile onto their ship. His boat's gone. I'd be drinking a little bit too. Okay.
I mean, yeah, I feel like you'd have to be on your like most focused self. You have to be super focused in order to even live.
And give him a
And
break. He gets attacked by a crab cyborg.
yeah, I didn't like that crab cyborg. I was kind of hoping that he would die, but he didn't. He got saved, and then
He's another one who made it onto the cover. And if
oh,
anyone, you might not be familiar with this, but if anyone's my age, he kind of looks like the one monster from that Nickelodeon show, Real Monsters, the one who holds his eyeballs in his hands. Casey pointed that out. Now I can't unsee it.
I don't know what that is.
In the chat, say I know what that is. Did you guys get super chats yet?
Not yet. So
No, I
pretty
mean,
much
is your channel eligible for super chat?
Oh yes.
Okay, leave a $50 super chat saying I know what you're talking about, Tony.
All right, so pretty much they like brainstorm, and then Powell is alive, and he's like, I'm gonna take over command. It's like, dude, no, don't do that. And pretty much everyone just splits up. So we have Ms. Foster, she's the brunette chick, and
Yes.
Averill. They split off, and then we have the rest of the crew kind of split off, and the sad thing happens. Very sad thing happens. Powell and Melanie, which is the blonde chick's name, they get turned into these creatures, and we get to learn that the Chinese were talking to some high intelligence deep space extraterrestrials, and they're just communicating with them, and it's
and they
it's really cool.
They whatever they were communicating with took over the boat's technology. But you're right, the captain turns into a cyborg, which again happens early here. I could tell when he was rewriting this for the film, he realized the captain was a good bad guy. So in the film, he's still a dick throughout most of it, but he doesn't turn into a cyborg till the last act.
Yeah, I do like the probably the third act. Yeah. The entirety of the third act is just them running from these creations that are being made, them shooting at them. They have to blow everything up because they just keep being shot at. Just a bunch of explosions happen. Pew 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 pew. They have to go. They go to the top. There's alien guys there.
They find an aircraft, a jet or a helicopter, but the robots are swarming it, and that ends up becoming, and it's on the last cover. That ends up becoming the final boss of the comic. It's the thing that they try to escape with is now this giant monster.
Yeah, he kind of looks like he reminds me of a Godzilla
Yeah.
They find that there's these the alien machine, the alien dudes kind of machine what is it, a conveyor belt style of making these creatures, and then they have to fight more of these creatures, and then they fight more and more, and then basically what's left is just Foster and Averill. And their boat explodes, and then they get picked up by a helicopter.
Yeah, and I will say, when we were reviewing the movie, Casey noticed that the movie is kind of similar to the movie Alien versus Predator. And actually, the movie has a very different ending. They basically just blow up the giant monster at the end, and they blow up the ship. In this one, the giant monster survives. They attach it to a cable, and they drown it. And that's how they kill the queen alien in Alien versus Predator. So we're thinking Paul W.S. Anderson, when he was writing that, he must have seen Virus or read the comics and borrowed some ideas. Because they're very, very, very similar. But yeah, they think the threat's done. But the last panel of the comic, I think, is a floppy disk in the water.
Yeah, the virus is still there. Someone could just pick it up. And that's
I'm pretty sure salt water would destroy that thing. So I don't know if there's any. I don't think there's a threat. But it's funny to think that an alien virus from the universe can fit on a 3.5-inch floppy that probably only holds 10 megabytes or whatever.
It's a cool idea. So what did you think of the story?
The story
overall.
is, again, like I said, I feel like it's a good rough draft. The characters figure out what's going on a little too quick. They're
Yeah.
like, oh yes, there must be aliens and cyborgs. That's why in the film they actually add a survivor of the ship. There's a Russian
Hmm.
girl who kind of explains what's happened to the main characters, which I think one, it helps run the runtime, makes the runtime a little longer. But yeah, again, the captain, I think that storyline was a little too rushed. Even in the film, I think he could have been the main boss for the very end. But it's a very good concept. I like the setting of the abandoned submarine. I love that they're cyborg robots that look like they're mixed with like Hellraiser shit, like they're
Yeah.
flesh and machines combined. I would like to see this idea done well. Apparently, there are like video games that someone said that reminded them of System Shock, which I've never played.
Hmm.
Um, it's a cool
Okay.
concept. I want to see it done right. It was, and
I
it's also,
thought this was fine. I thought it was a fine execution.
I think it's a
I
fine
enjoyed the
execution too.
story.
Yeah, the comic is fine for what it is, and
Yeah.
it made me a little nostalgic because I actually had a lot of Dark Horse comics growing
Yeah.
up because they did all like the movie adaptations, which I really liked. Yeah, the artwork. Oh wait, I guess we'll get into
We
the
are
artwork.
on the
Sorry,
art now.
we are on the
Okay,
artwork now. Okay, cool.
yes. I like the dynamic arts.
Mhm.
There's a lot of dynamic poses. There's a lot of motion within like each of the frames whenever
Yeah.
there is motion. I really like the cross hatching style. I like the line art a lot. I like the
Mm.
color palette used.
Yeah.
And overall, like when it comes to like a page has its own color palette,
Mhm.
and it's not it's not messy actually. I just overall really like this art style. I
Yeah.
really like I
I
just
love the way
like it.
I love the way the cyborgs look. Like I said,
Yeah, that's really cool.
like I said, there's a few from the book that make it into the movie, but the movie for the most part, there's only like one character that has this kind of like gross flesh mixed with mechanical stuff. Everything else, it's just too dark to see.
Yeah. I
Which
mean, it's all right. I mean, it's somewhat
but
visible.
I'm saying like the comic, I love the way it looks in the comic, and I
Yes.
wish that would have transitioned better to screen. Because I love, like,
Um
look at this. This is like a plane, but then you have like muscles going around the
yeah.
legs and bones and buzzsaws everywhere.
Yeah, it's pretty
It's
cool.
so cool.
What did you think of the lettering? Were you able to like read it well? Did you
Yeah,
like the onomatopoeia?
the lettering was totally fine. Yeah.
I like the onomatopoeia a lot.
Mhm.
What did you think of the action?
It
I
was
think
very action packed.
you're very action
They
packed.
made sure something exciting was happening almost like every other page.
Yeah, and if there wasn't like big explosions happening, there's always like some sort of character development within the
Mm.
drama itself. Like
Yeah.
it switches from drama to action to drama to action, and there's just like this overall suspense building throughout the
Mhm.
rest of the comic, and then it releases like the big explosion at the very end, and then okay, well they got saved, that's cool, but then the
Yeah.
very end, it's like oh, it's a possibility that
Yeah.
there's someone could get the virus and it spread to everyone else.
Oh
That's
no.
that's spooky.
It
Oh
really
wow.
is the thing. It's such the thing. And there actually is a movie that kind of rips off the thing that is set like in the ocean. It's called Leviathan. You should check that out at
Oh.
some point. It's pretty good.
So overall, what would you rate this? What would you rate this? For I like to do for SALAD. Each of them is out of 5. So what would you rate the story? I think I'd rate the story personally like it's like a 4. It's a 4.
Yeah, it's a 4. I'll give the story a 4. I was engaged. I thought the characters could have been fleshed out a little bit more, but
Yeah.
it was a perfectly serviceable story with okay characters.
All right. What'd you think of the art? I think I'd give the art a 4 as well.
Again, yeah, a 4. It's not like the most amazing thing in the world, but it looks great. I will say the paperback you have, I don't really like the cover they picked for that. It doesn't really match the art style of the book.
Yeah, it doesn't. I
Yeah.
just ignored it.
For some reason,
Honestly.
I like the simplicity of the original comic, that it's just here's a monster on a white background, not even a drop shadow, anything. There's the cover. This sold really well, by the way. Sorry, a little backstory. He couldn't get this into a movie. So he made the comic, and the comic sold ridiculously well. And then James Cameron's ex-wife was like, "Sure, we'll make it now."
What do you think of the action? What would you rate it? I think I would rate it. It's a 4.
I give the action a 5. It's very action-packed. You got a guy getting split in half in the beginning. That's cool as shit.
It could have been. I think it could have been a little bit more. I mean, I do like. I will say this. I really like the use of the panels in order to like really make something so dramatic like the wave in the very beginning, like because the panel was so big and the wave was drawn so big in it just was like, wow, it's insane, you know. I guess it's, and also the action was very dynamic. It helped with it really helped with selling the story. And what did you think of the drama? I think I'd give it a solid 4.
Yeah, I'll give it a 4. 4 is good.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a nice little mini series, and it led to a mediocre, not that good movie, and hopefully it leads to better things. My one friend who's a visual effects artist, he said like he was very inspired by Virus. And he has the paperback too and everything we were talking about. I think he even played the video game. I can't play the video game because it's freaking the European copy. I don't have a European PlayStation, but apparently the game is not that good.
You need to be European. So what is that score? It's for me, it's a 20 out of 25, and for you, it's a 21 out of 25. So Tony, plug your stuff. Have a little plug your things.
Like I said, I reviewed Virus last month, and we accidentally put it out on the film's 20th anniversary. Jamie Lee Curtis did not celebrate the 20th anniversary of Virus. I did follow the writer Chuck Pfarrer, and he's all about the war in Ukraine because he's like a former military guy. His Twitter is just war in Ukraine stuff. He also did.
What's your Twitter?
My Twitter is retweeting Mint Salad, to be honest.
You mean twitter.com/hackthemovies?
Yes, x.com/hackthemovies.
Where else did we find you?
Oh, you can find me on Instagram, TikTok, and on YouTube, where I put movie reviews out every Monday, except this week coming up, it's going to be Wednesday because I needed more time to edit it. We're doing The Return of the King. We finally got around to it.
Nice.
Yes, and Mid Salad, I'm on Cameo now.
Cool. Cameo him.
Cameo.com/Tony Peluso. I will do most of pretty much anything. Some people have ridiculous requests.
Thank you so much, Tony.
Yes.
This has been Mince Got Issues. Link tr.ee/titsmansalad to support me. Woo! I'm in salad and I got issues. I'm in salad and I got issues.